Welcome back to another art lesson. Today I'm going to talk to you about printmaking. So you're going to create a design and then put it on this rubber piece of material. As you see, I already made one. You do want to draw out your design first, and then you want to take a few tools and use those to engrave your lines out of this block. So as you see with printmaking, there's a lot of different items that you need. So it is handy to have some paintbrushes, and you can get some bigger ones just to spread your paint out a little bit. You do want these rollers, which are called brayers, and this kind of flattens out your paint. You just don't want any bubbles in your ink. And for this project, you do want to use ink. So the ink that I have in front of me is called, Speedball ink, and you can get it for screen printing as well. The colors that I have for the lesson are black, I have blue today, and I have the yellow. And as you see, I just use wooden spoons to kind of give it a little bit of stir. If you're opening up a new bottle, then kind of stir it around a little bit before you start using it. I also have a printing plate. This is what you sometimes put your ink on, and then you go ahead and roll your brayer on top of the paint until it's flat and proceed to print. I'm going to do two different prints for you today. So today I'm going to do a print on the white paper where I'm going to use the yellow and the blue. The wonderful thing about printing is that there is really no process of messing up. All it is about layering your print one on top of each other. If you end up creating a third color, then that's okay. And I'll show you. So think of it like now you're creating a collage, but using the printmaking method. So I'm simply going to start with the blue and the yellow ink. As you see, I've already made my design, and you want to go slowly when you're using the carving tools. They can be a little bit sharp. You always want to cut away from you. You do want to look at how far you engraved your design. If it's not far enough down, then you want to go back in and recarve your design in there just a little bit deeper, and then try to print with it and see how it comes out. I always tell people that this is really a trial and error process because you don't really know what the outcome is going to look like, but it really does look really beautiful in the end. So let's go ahead and start with the white paper. And you're going to go ahead and take a brush, and you can kind of spread out the paint a little bit so it doesn't have a lot of bubbles in it. With the paint, you just lay it down over here so you get paint on yourself. Take a brayer, go ahead and roll it out. And like you see, you really don't need a lot of paint. I probably put too much on this plate, and that's okay. I'm going to probably just use some of the paint and put it onto the plate now. Because you don't, like I said, you don't need a lot for this process. So then you simply just take it and you roll on the paint onto your stamp that you've created. And if you see that you need more ink, then you just add a little bit more ink. Remember to get your corners. And you just want it lightly on there. You don't want big globs of paint on your print. So the first few times you kind of see how it works, and sometimes it doesn't work out. So you just try again with the printing process. This really helps you push down your print. You pull it up from the corner, and then you see what it looks like. So that one came out okay. You do want to rinse your designs in between making another one, because you don't really want to mix your colors right on top of your design here. You want to mix it onto your paper once you print it, if that makes sense. So I'm actually going to do one more yellow one for you. So once again, you take it and kind of glide it over. So as you see, the yellow looks really good here. I'm going to go ahead and try the blue. Now, if you see one of these stamps, they're not quite engraved all the way, so I probably wouldn't use this one because it's even hard to see where the engraving is. So now you do want to rinse these off in between each print. So I'm going to try the blue. I said you don't need printing plates at home. You can use paper plates. They work just fine too. You simply take your design and run that blue right over it. So if you see, this really is a lesson on positive and negative space. Again, because your negative space is where you have engraved. So the trick is to really see if your engraving kind of shows through. I'm going to go ahead and print it back here where you can kind of see it. And I'm going to just layer it just a little bit offset from the yellow one. Now you want to push down, like I said. You can use one of these tools if you want. And just kind of push. Or I like to use my hands. So then you can just push down with your hands. Just make sure you get your corners. Then you hold the paper and just peel up from the corner and your print should show. Now, if you don't want to add more ink, that's okay. You could take the same amount of ink and just reprint it on another part of the frame. But I would go maybe horizontal this time because it looks like I've been printing a lot vertical. So I would just maybe go horizontal. Once again, push down, and then you just want to peel up with a corner. And now when you see that start to fade, when you start to see one color showing underneath, it's kind of the blue starting to look transparent, that's when printing, I think, really comes alive. And it looks really interesting, and it's really fun to do too. So I am going to use black. That's the last one I'm going to put on this image. So the colors I'm choosing are blue, I'm choosing yellow, and then I'm choosing black. So like I said, I'm going to leave for a minute, rinse this off, come right back. The last one is black on this image, and then I'm just going to do a white print for you, and you're going to see how that looks on construction paper, and I'm probably going to end at that point, and you'll be able to then make your own prints going from this demo. And I want you to have fun with all of it. So you go ahead and take the brayer, put it into the ink. You don't need a lot of ink, remember. So you don't need big tubs like this in the video. You don't need to buy big tubs like this. You can get just a small half that size would work for projects. And you'll see this more common than the other prints is people using the black. This is probably the most common. I'm not going to reapply that paint. I'm going to try to print multiple times with the same color. So, and just see how that looks. Once again, you push down, and then you just want to peel up from the corner. I'm going to print exactly with the same one, just over here. So you see it is getting all over my hands. You may want to wear gloves for this. You don't have to. Water will wash it off, But as you see, it's starting to look really nice. And like I said, it's kind of like a collage in the end. Now, I'm gonna rinse the plate. I'm gonna come back and I'm going to print the white onto the black construction paper, and that will be the last print that I do. So remember, when you're cutting and you're making your actual design, you do wanna have a kind of a pad underneath, just in case this tool that you're using goes through a little bit to the table, then you can not worry about your table getting ruined either. So like I said, I have a new white plate for printing. I'm gonna put the colors aside. This is gonna be the last print. What am I gonna do this print on? Remember, a lot of art and creating art is all about creating a high contrast in the end. If you create a high contrast with whatever image you do, whether it's photography, painting, printing, then the piece will automatically be successful in the end. So basically, when I made this design, I did do one big design. There's 4 of these, as you see. And then I cut this with an X-Acto knife just to play around with composition if I were to make one big print with this. That's an idea you can do as well, because these usually come in a really big pad that it's an oversized piece that you may be able to cut in 4 pieces in the end. So like you have your ink. I'm going to use the white, and you can also try this. If you don't have ink, you can try it with acrylic paint. And once again, you want to color, and I'm going to put it in the white, which is acrylic paint, and it's on a plate. So I'm just going to simply go ahead and kind of flatten out that ink a little bit. And like I said, if you don't have ink at home, you can use acrylic paint, so that's okay. You're going to take the roller, put it onto your design, and roll it on. Remember, this time I'm using the black paper, and it's just construction paper. That's all that is. So I'm going to tape this up on the board for you so you can see how these prints look. And I think this is my favorite part of the printing process, is really watching the high contrast unfold on different pieces of paper. So if you notice the color piece of paper here with the colors on it, this is multimedia paper. And then this one, I'm just using construction paper. So you simply just put it on here, push down. Like I said, I don't use the tools to push it down, I just use my hand. And then bring it up from the corner. I have a lot of ink on there, I can see that already, so I'm just gonna reprint the same print without applying more paint. Put it down and pull up from the corner. Like I said, if you get these designs, the engravings, if you can get them to kind of connect with each other through interesting compositions, that's when you'll make your print kind of come alive. And I really like the faded look it starts to have when you reprint and reprint the same print, and eventually it fades away. There's something kind of visually beautiful watching them, so it's kind of nice. Now, the reason printing, as I'm coming to a close here, the reason it's so popular, it really was a game in the art industry. So it was time that paintings could now be prints, and people could resell their work through a mass production of their work.